Hi, welcome to Discover Your Life Today YouTube channel. My name is Maveen Kaura. I am from discoveryourlifetoday.com. Today I'm going to be talking about 5 simple secrets to raising amazing children. You can actually go over to discoveryourlifetoday.com/raise children, and see some of the things that I talk about in more detail as you go ahead and read this. But I'm just going to be going through this video today, kind of going over 5 things my parents taught me and my sister as we were growing up, and some principles that I'm going to be teaching my children someday when I do have children. It can be easy for us as we're growing up to say, I do not want to be anything like my parents when I grow up. I caught myself saying this many times, saying I just didn't want to be them. I didn't want to identify with how they are or how they were at that time, when we were growing up. I'm sure many of you can relate to that statement as well and say, yeah, I've said that as well. I don't want to be anything like my parents. But on the other hand, you might be thinking, but I love my parents and I love the way they raised me. And if I could just be half of who they are today, I'd be happy. And a lot of that has come to my understanding as well over the years of kind of working through that statement, I don't want to be anything like my parents. Yeah, there's things I don't want to be like my parents for sure, but there are a lot of great principles that my parents taught me that I would love to have instilled in my children one day as well. I think we have to realize our parents did a great job to raise us the best they could. There's no manual on how to raise kids, and especially with the way things keep changing and technology and the world keeps changing day in, day out, there's no real manual on how to do it, right? Our parents never had to raise anybody. They never had to go out and make money to feed us or any other children. So they're just kind of figuring it out as they're going along as well in this ever-changing world. Right, so you may be reading this and understanding that children do not come with that instruction manual, and even if you wrote an instructional manual for how to raise your children, if you gave that to your own kids right now, that manual would be pretty much obsolete, because when they go and try to use that for their kids, it wouldn't make any sense. But the principles that you write can definitely help raise some amazing children. So these are 5 lessons that my parents taught me and my sister about growing up, as we were growing up, and lessons that I would love to have you maybe even potentially teach your children. Maybe take some of these ideas and incorporate them into your life today. Think about this as we're going through these things, and maybe think about other things your parents actually taught you. What life lessons do you want to teach your children when they grow up? Can you recall any life lessons your parents or guardian taught you when you were growing up? What would you like to teach your children? And what would you like to not teach your children? As I go over these 5 lessons, please take a listen to what I'm saying and really consider it and how you can potentially use this in your own life as well. So the first thing they taught me was about money. I think this is something that all parents teach their children about the best they can. This is what my parents taught me. So growing up in Montreal, my parents had gone through 2 recessions. They had owned a business, they lost their family business, and their second recession, they could not recover financially. So in the early 90s, my sister and I, with my parents of course, moved to Calgary, Alberta, Canada. And this is where we got our first job and we started saving money. And, we have this money in our bank account from our first job. Both of us worked at a fast food restaurant, Taco Bell. And we were saving money, and my dad really wanted to teach us about the value of money. So what he did was taught us how to save a little bit of money, put it in like bonds and whatnot, and how in the future it could pay us some money back, right? He was really about having safe investments that we could put our money into. But the other thing he taught us was, this is the more important thing, was that my money, my sister's money, and my parents' money was all something called family money. So my money was his, my money was my mom's, my money was my sister's. So I worked really hard for it, and they could use that money anytime they wanted to. And vice versa. The nice thing was, if I needed money from my sister, I can borrow that money as well, as long as I was, of course, doing something smart with it, not something bad with that money. My parents never asked us how much money we had in the bank. If they ever said, hey, I need $1,000 because I need to go do this, there was the expectation there that because it's family money, you would give that $1,000 to your parents. You're not asking for, it's not a loan, it's not interest with interest or anything like that. It was given to them, no problem. Now, that got me thinking a little bit different about money because, we are working hard for it. Now, I started thinking, well, why are we working so hard? And why am I working? And why am I giving my parents my money? So I started thinking about this, saying, what are they doing with that money? Well, they're probably going out there and creating some sort of asset that they can with that money, because the whole idea is to hopefully be able to pass on some sort of legacy to me and my sister, so they can then say, you know what, this is what we were able to do in our lifetime. Take what we were able to do with all maybe some different properties, different investments, ideas, maybe whatever money they have in the bank or whatnot, and pass that on to us, and maybe we can do something with that. So I had an understanding that said, this, whatever they're building is for our future inheritance. And that's why it was called family money. It was our responsibility to help them build that future inheritance that we can then go ahead and get, because we will get that in the future. So that's kind of why we did it. Helping the kids was number 2. So that's the second thing that my parents taught me and my sister. No matter how old I got, my parents will always treat me like their child. Obviously, because I am their child, right? But they obviously talk to me much different than they used to when I was a child, right? This could be the fact that helping them or helping us kids was with money, with a place to stay, was advice, was on what type of car or jobs to get, what kind of interviews, on how to do interviews, and all these different things. My parents would do whatever they could to help the best way they could, just like you probably do with your own children. What is this? This is called unconditional love. They do this because there's no expectations. They just do it because that's the way it's supposed to be. This means, if I work hard, I take chances, and even experience failure, and without a shadow of a doubt, I would know that my parents will always be in my corner supporting me. Just like today, how my wife is supporting me and how I support my wife. No different. We take those same principles and put them together and support each other and build on something so we can then continue to better our life and our future children's lives. This makes life much easier to go through because now you're working together to create something, right? You might be saying, why does an adult male or female need help from their parents? Hey, you know what? And that's a fair question. There's a lot of things that happen to, us, people like watching this video that maybe my age. There's a lot of things that we go through and experience. And there's some hardships that we go through. And so who else can you count on but your parents to help you if you need help? Obviously, the goal is to not get yourself in problems where you would get into that much trouble where you need to go to your parents for help. And if you can't find any other solution, maybe that is the best place to go. But, you have to try to find other solutions, because guess what? Like we talked about in other videos, your parents and most likely are part of a statistic where 65, most people don't get to the age of 65, and if they do, they are in financial problems when they do get to those ages. So if your parents will help you, your goal then is to reciprocate and help them when they get to that age as well. So they're trying to build you just as you're trying to build them. Number 3, my parents taught me about travel. Traveling is something that I've totally enjoyed doing since I was a kid. Even more as I've gotten older, I've loved going to different countries and whatnot. But in 2002, my family of 4 at the time had the opportunity to travel to India. And this is where my parents had grown up. This is where they had developed a lot of their own experiences and their own memories and stuff. And me and my sister had a real good opportunity to go there and really witness how my parents grew up together. We had been there at various times as well, but never as a family of 4. This really gave us an opportunity to appreciate my family's history, culture, and different rituals that they have. I came back and when I came back to Canada at the time, I did learn about different cultures, religion, poverty, and how well off I really am in Canada compared to billions of other people in this planet, and how not to take that for granted, because there are so many people who would gladly change lives with me every time I make a complaint. So they taught me about different things to travel, and really when you go and really see what is out there in the world and really appreciate the things you have every time you come back. The fourth thing they taught me about was having friends, and the right type of friends. And I think every parent teaches their kid about friends and having the right friends and influencing and the good and bad influences that their friends have over them. You can probably hear your mom's voice right now in your head saying, I don't want you to go hang out with this person because of so-and-so is a bad influence on you. I think there's something about a mother's intuition that is really trying to steer you the right way. But what do most of us do? We defy our mom's wish. We go out and hang out with these people that we say that they tell us we should not be hanging out with. And as we grow up, we start to realize maybe we made some good friendship choices, and maybe we made some not so good friendship choices out there as well. But sometimes we only find this out when we've hit rock bottom in our life because we don't consider the things our parents were saying to us. You may have heard this statement by someone called Jim Rohn. He's a motivational speaker. He says, we are the average of the 5 people we spend the most time with. So when your mom at an early age was convincing you or trying to convince you not to hang out with little Johnny or little Susie because they are a bad influence on you, not saying that Johnnies and Susies are bad influences on people, just you need a name to use. They were really trying to get you to understand that the best 5 people that you can hang out with is who you become as well. And when we choose the right people to hang out with, the right business partner, the right spouse, the right everything, the right morals, we start living a much happier life as well. And the 5th thing they taught me about was business. Nothing that they actually physically ever told me. My parents told me the old adage as well: go to school, get a job, and carve out a good life for yourself. That's the same advice many people's parents here in North America give them. It's the same advice my parents got when they were living in India as well. But I learned by their actions, and they came to Canada and they started their own import-export business as well. And like I said earlier, they went through 2 recessions. That business did not go fare well through 2 separate recessions, but for years and years they built that business. Almost 15 years they built that business to something that they could call their own. But I learned that it is important to have your own business. Since my teenage years, I've been working, but more and more have I seen and understood that when you control your own time, you can control your own money through owning your own business. And this is why currently I'm in the midst of having discoveryourlifetoday.com, trying to build something with it. Trying to build a podcast with David Andrew Weeb as well. We do usingyourpower.com. So these are 2 separate business entities that we're trying to create. We're also trying to put together a marketing company here, just something that we can call our own and start our own. My parents never told me that these are the things I need to do, but these opportunities also weren't available when they were telling me these things. Other opportunities were, but like most parents, they were telling me to go out there, become a doctor, a lawyer, an engineer, whatnot. But really seeing that there's so many other opportunities in life, it is important to have your own business so one day you can pass that to your children if they feel that that is something that they want to do. I encourage you to go read the article that I did on this topic as well. Again, it's on discoveryourlifetoday.com/raise children. If you enjoyed this video, please like it. Go ahead and subscribe to it for other further videos or future videos that will come out as well. Leave a comment below. Let me know if maybe some things that you will use from this video. Maybe let me know something that your parents taught you that you taught your children as well, or that you will teach your children as well. I'd love to find out and maybe be able to use that myself. My name is Maveen Kaur. Again, I'm from discoveryourlifetoday.com, and this is the Discover Your Life Today YouTube channel. I hope you have yourself a great day.